Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Magic Stew. My name is Kyle Lott. It's great to have you here. If it's your first time here, welcome. Today we're doing something a little different. I know most people are used to me doing the Draft Boot Camp series, but I wanted to do a little Commander content for you. Now, for those of you who don't know, when I'm not busy grinding out drafts, I love sleeving up an EDH deck and playing, but one of my big problems with the format is that it's getting a little bit expensive. EDH used to be that place where, you could go and you could sleeve up all your old junk rares and you'd be able to have a great game of Magic. It's definitely been a good thing for getting, value into your collections. Cards that were worth nothing after standard rotation are now worth a decent amount because they're Commander staples. But it does mean that the format is a lot more expensive than I would like. So today, we're doing budget Commander. Now, I wanted to really think about what a budget is and how we can give you the best bang for your buck. So today, I'm giving you 10 cards. That's right, 10 cards. Count them on your fingers. It's like an episode of Dora the Explorer. 10 cards that are not only under $10 total, so for the entire collection is going to be less than $10. They can go into every single Commander deck, regardless of color, regardless of your Commander, regardless of your strategy. Commander is a format that's all about mana fixing and mana acceleration, so a lot of these cards are going to be, artifacts or lands, necessarily, but they're artifacts and lands that really push you towards mana acceleration or help you draw cards or help you thin your deck out or do a bunch of different things for your win condition. What I really wanted to do was make a core 10 cards that were less than $10. I think the grand total for all 10 of these cards comes for $7.09, which is awesome. But you can put these 10 cards in every single Commander deck that you've got. Which is awesome. That means that you have a core 10 cards that you can literally slot into anywhere else. So for $7, I've just paid for 10% of every Commander deck that you'll ever run, which seems like good value. So with that in mind, let's kick it off and let's talk about the core. The core are 3 cards that you're always going to have no matter what. There's some debate on whether on some of the cards in this list, I'm sure some Commander experts will think that some cards are not nearly as good as others, which is fine. But I really think that these 3 cards will go into every single Commander deck, bar none. And let's start off, of course, with the obvious classics. We got to talk about Sol Ring and Command Tower. Now, I know Sol Ring has been printed dang near into oblivion at this point, but the card's still sitting pretty at about $2.44. But for $2.44, as the most expensive card on this list, it is an essential buy for any Commander player. There's been some talk even that some EDH players want this card banned. It is that good. It's just free mana. For one mana, you get 2 extra mana every turn for the rest of your life. Or until somebody decides to destroy it or counter it or whatever. But Sol Ring is just the premier piece of mana acceleration. And it's one of the best cards you'll ever run in Commander. Again, cheap mana in Commander is king. Command Tower, on the other hand, is an awesome buy at about $1.02. Again, this is a card that's definitely dropped a lot in price because of the reprinting, but it's a land that will always, always tap for whatever color of mana you need, and because you can only cast things that are in your Commander's color identity, this is basically Birds of Paradise as a land, as far as you're concerned. It is a little less good in monocolored Commander decks, but I have to tell you, it's a pretty decent card. So, and at $1 or $2, it's definitely a sweet buy. Now, the last piece of our core is something that's really, really important and something that I really, really want to talk about. And that's Myriad Landscape. At just $1.55, Myriad Landscape is a card that I absolutely love. Being able to not only thin your deck out and get 2 basic lands as a colorless ability is huge, especially if you're playing monocolored Commander decks like Mono Blue, if you're a fan of the Jace Vryn's Prodigy deck, or if you're playing Mono Black, if you're running something like a Razaketh. Being able to accelerate out your mana in colorless is amazing. Amazing. And at just $1.55, it's too good to pass up. So this is obviously a part of our 3-card core for this deck. And again, it's $5 and a single penny for all 3 of these cards. I think that's a solid investment for anyone who's jumping into Commander. Now, let's talk about our next cards. Not the core, but what I like to call acceleration. And these are 3 of the best mana accelerations at the cheapest price. So first things first, I want to talk about my boy, Mind Stone. Mind Stone is a phenomenal card for 2 mana. You can tap it for 1 colorless, which again, it's no Sol Ring, but it's still pretty good. And when you're realizing that you don't need all that extra mana, you can actually just tap 1, crack it, and draw a card. I mean, this is perfect. A lot of times, especially in the late game in Commander, when you're digging for bombs or answers or board wipes, drawing your mana accelerants is not going to be super helpful, and having something like Mind Stone is excellent, simply because you can just crack it and draw that extra card. And at 10 whole cents, one little tiny coin, it's a definite include in most of my Commander decks. I absolutely love Mind Stone, and I think you will too. But I would be remiss about not talking about this other card if I'm going to talk about Mind Stone. That's right, we're going to give it to Hedron Archive. Hedron Archive is Mind Stone's older brother, and man, oh man, is it a good card. 4 mana is a little steep, but being able to tap for what you would normally get out of a Sol Ring is excellent. And again, being able to Divination at instant speed attached to an artifact is huge, especially if you're playing colors that don't normally have draw spells, things like green, for example. So it's an excellent include in this deck, in any Commander deck, to be completely frank with you, and at just 50 cents, I mean, come on, it's pretty good. And last but certainly not least, I want to talk about Worn Power Stone. I rolled around the idea of putting in Thran Dynamo in the list, but Thran Dynamo was sitting around somewhere around $3 at the time that I made this video, and at just 35 cents, I couldn't really justify not talking about Worn Power Stone in this list. This is a budget list, and Worn Power Stone is a pretty good card. It's really good. I mean, just again, having access to cheap mana acceleration in almost any color at 35 cents, you can't go wrong with it. Alright, but now let's talk about our next group of cards, and that is the land in this deck. Now, I'm going to talk about 2 cards that are pretty similar, and those cards are Terramorphic Expanse and Evolving Wilds. I know. It's fairly self-explanatory, but I see a lot of people who aren't running these cards, and there's a lot of questions that I have about that. First things first, these are obviously just 10 cents each, which is stellar. But because they're 10 cents each, it's awesome. You get to fix your mana in your 3-color or your 4-color Commander decks. It also thins out your library, which is excellent as well, so you have a higher density of spells. But let's talk about some of the synergies with Commander. With things like Gitrog Monster or Titania, being able to sacrifice land on command is huge. You can gain an incredible amount of value for that. And yes, I know most Commander players are going to play their fetch lands, but budget. And at 10 cents, having synergy with commanders like Gitrog Monster and Titania, and also, being able to thin out your deck and fix your colors for just 20 cents, these 2 cards, just stellar. It's very stellar. The last land that I want to talk about is only 35 cents. And I think it should be in every single Commander deck. I just didn't feel like it was strong enough to hang out with Myriad Landscape, Command Tower, and Sol Ring. But that card is Temple of the False God. Bless. No, Temple of the False God is just a stellar card. Basically, it's a land that's always going to tap for 2 colorless when you hit 5 lands or more. And frankly speaking, having a land that sort of does double duty, or I guess this is like investing in a guild gate, so to speak. You're going to play it maybe on turn 4, maybe on turn 5, and just always have 2 mana for it. I treat it like a guild gate, to be honest, just a colorless one. And at 35 cents, again, it's a steal. Being able to tap a land for 2 mana is just, again, pretty self-explanatory, especially in the decks that don't have access to good mana acceleration. I'm talking your mono greens, your mono blacks, your mono blues. I mean, if you're not running Dark Ritual, then in black, this is a great cheap way to get mana acceleration. And for 35 cents, I think it's a stellar option. Now, last but certainly not least, I want to talk about my sleeper card. This is a card that I think almost everyone should be running, and I barely ever see anyone run it at all. And at 58 cents, I think it is an absolute steal of a budget piece of tech for Commander. And that card is Burnished Heart. Now, Burnished Heart is 3 colorless for a 2/2 artifact creature, which, again, not amazing baseline stats, but for 3 mana, you can sack the Burnished Heart and double Rampant Growth? What? That's right, you can double Rampant Growth. You get 2 basic lands. They don't even have to be of the same type like Myriad Landscape, and put them onto the battlefield tapped. In response to board wipe, it's awesome. In response to your opponent trying to kill it, it's amazing. You could block your opponent's non-trample commander, sack the Burnished Heart to get some value. It's incredible. And again, at 58 cents, this should probably go in every commander deck. Again, being able to filter those lands, to get the lands, the colors that you're missing, to accelerate out your mana in colors that don't have it, so you can do really powerful stuff. 58 cents for Burnished Heart is a steal, and I would be remiss if I didn't mention it as one of my sleepers for this list. Well, that's it. 10 cards for your commander decks. 10% of every commander deck that you will ever play has now been taken care of by your boy Kyle Ott for about $7.09. We use TCG mid-pricing for this video. They're not sponsoring this or anything like that, but it's just the most common resource that most Magic players use, so I decided I'd use it. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, ring that little bell thingy, and comment below if you'd like more videos like this. We're thinking about doing some more Commander content. We are by no means Commander experts, but we are Commander enthusiasts, and we do love the format. And I feel like that's how everybody starts in Commander, you know? Everyone just winds up loving the crap out of it and having a great time. So if you enjoyed this, please let me know in the comments below. Don't forget, of course, to do all that like, share, subscribe, doobly-doo stuff. And I've been Kyle Ott from Magic Stew. You've been awesome. Have a good one.